home. So let's talk to one another. Let's read with one another. When spiritual discussion is still a bed. A live one and every Sunday at 12.
Brother Jamar, put it on beg pardon? Yeah.
Q&A session started. Q&A session has started.
Of course, the area code is free. That's 31 868 868 0342 and 868 0351. And now let's go live. Short discussion.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you who hunger and thirst after truth and righteousness. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. Before I get into a lesson with you tonight, there are a few things I want to first offer. Whenever, we're so used to people. It's kind of puzzling to me that it's so many people have stood up and told the people that they were men of God and God called them and all of that kind of thing. But I never heard anybody curse them out. I never heard anybody even stand up in a church and say, how we know God called you? Where's your proof? It's just like when you go to a department store, at least when you used to go to a department, they don't really have department stores anymore. I guess malls took the place of department stores. But at Christmas time, you would go into the store and depending on how big it was, they'd have a Santa Claus on every floor. And the parents would say to the children, oh, there's Santa. And the children would say, can I take a picture with Santa, Mom? Yeah, baby, go ahead. And nobody ever walked up to Santa and said, prove you Santa Claus. You know why? See, I'm putting something on your mind that you never thought about. Because didn't nobody really believe there is a Santa Claus? Everybody had just quietly agreed that there's no such person, and they know it's not. And so, but we're not going to tell the children that. Do you understand? But every time a real man of God showed up, the devils got busy in the brains of the people who they gained the mastery over. And when they discover that this man really believes he's a prophet or he believes he's truly sent by God, they say, go over there and straighten that fool out, will you? Now they are the fools because they've said in their heart that there is no God. And if there is no God, how in the hell can he be somebody representing God when it ain't no such a thing? Right? Yeah, I know what's going on with you. Same thing been going on with you and me for the past 6,000 years. But I'm going to put a stop to you. You ain't going no further. Now, um, well, I mean, you didn't get mad when he told you he had been around here for all them time. He even made a song about it. He said, I've been around for long, long years and stole many man's souls and faith. He said, pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. No, I ain't guessed your name. I know your name, Satan. And it's kind of like on the Matrix. If you ain't with me, you with the devil. Yes. Now, gonna chew on that. Now, we have a brother. You know, I ain't like these people. You know, if a man tell me that I'm not the son of man, why should I run away from that? Unless I know I'm standing up here lying. If I'm not the son of man, I don't know I'm not the son of man. And if he can show me that I'm not, then I can thank him for stopping me from deluding myself. Then I can beg all y'all's pardon and hope you don't ask me to kill myself, because I got to keep my word. If you give me if you bring the pistol, I'd have to stick it to my head and say goodbye, because the word, you know, Muslims are truthful. Word is bond, bond is life. And before my word shall fail, I'll give my life. It's just like some of y'all who, you know, I know terrible things about all of y'all. But I don't run around spreading it. I'm going to pretty soon ask you all who feel like you need to sow dissension and point out the faults and the slips that people made to people who may not know nothing about it. And that's not nothing that you magnify. No way. So now you control yourself and control your big mouth. And if you think I'm talking to you, it's because you know you guilty. I don't appreciate people going in amongst the new nation of Islam spreading dissension. Ain't now one of you righteous. You're a long way from being righteous. And there's your proof. Ain't nobody's reputation safe with you. I was thinking about what I said about, you know, yeah, it's out there. But I didn't need to. I mean, Ms. Trump is not still out there taking pictures of herself like that. So I apologize to her for bringing that up. But I too am human. But the difference in me and you is I'm willing to acknowledge when I went too far. Yeah, her husband low down. And I'll tell him to his face he's low down. I mean, when one of our brothers decide that he want to protest because black people being shot down all over the country, he got to be a SOB just because he protested. When people flying the Nazi flag and even put a swastika in the middle of stars and stripes, they wasn't SOBs. Even ran over a poor woman who was out there protesting like they were doing. Ran over and killed her. And she was white. He didn't call none of them SOB. He said there's some good people among them. That hole at the end of the anus don't have any idea what it's like to be a human being. You like that one? See, I know how to say things that they say. But the way I say it, you can't call me swine and all that kind of thing. But the message is there. And every time he opened his mouth, you can bear me witness that nothing come out of it but boo-boo. A coward. You know why he said that they've taken how did he put it? The action out of football and the roughness out of football, out of the game. You know why he was concerned about that? Is because if black people getting concussions and all that kind of stuff out there, he want that to continue. He could give less than a tinker's damn about us. No, I ain't gonna remind you of nothing I said. And just let me move on. We have somebody named Christopher. I just gave Christopher some more ammunition against me. Christopher, what? What was his name? Christopher Anderson. He says that I'm not the Son of Man. But he did acknowledge that I said something that was true. He said, but I'm still not the Son of Man. What was that he said?
You have a good message.
He said what?
You have a good message for you, not the Son of Man.
Okay, he said, I have a good message. But that was on which video?
Last week.
A good message about what?
The answer that you gave us about when people accuse us of being racist.
Oh, when people accuse us of being racist, you could ask them a question. When was we ever in a position to practice racism? In so many words, I mean, to be a racist, you have to have power over people, and then you use that power wrongfully and to oppress them because of their race. If you don't have any power, you can't be no racist if you want to be. Who you gonna practice on? So, that's just something that the white man who educated you, he knows he ain't gave you no comeback. He know you don't know what to say to that. That's why he will accuse you. You notice ain't none of them coming in here accusing me. Because he's scared. He already looks small in your eyes. At least he's starting to. And if he come in here with some garbage like that, he'll look even smaller. Because unlike him, I'm not a bigot. When a person disagrees with me, I let them talk. Press *6 on your phone, Christopher what? Anderson? Yes. Mr. Anderson, press *6 on your phone. And that will let the brother know that you are there. And I will let you come in and give the people and me, give me the information that you have that will show me and prove to me that I'm not the Son of Man. Come on now, don't punk out on me. Didn't he tell you he was going to come in here?
Yes, sir.
What was his exact words? You got a microphone back there. Read his exact words. So I know, I read into things. A lot of times you think people telling you one thing and they telling you something else. You know.
He said, I'll be there. Peace be unto you and the brother.
He said, I'll be there. Well, that could mean a lot of things. He could be there listening. That don't mean he gonna come in here and talk. He didn't say I'll be in there to talk with him. So, people play with words like that. That's the way liars do. Because he's trying to save face too, you see. Because he know how small it makes him look. To put something out there in writing, and then when you ask him to come in and talk about it, he punk out on you. Now, that's what children do. That's like when we was children and we going around throwing rocks and stuff, and breaking people's, throwing rocks at passing cars or whatever. And the car stopped and we take off running. And we threw the rock from behind the building anyway. Man didn't know who threw the rock. So you understand? He knew it was some little mischief-making rascals. Huh? But elementary school is when I used to do stuff like that. That's a childish, foolish act. Grown men, they don't just make something if he willing to put it in writing. I mean, they got an old saying. Did you get that in writing? If you got it in writing, 9 times out of 10, he gonna stand behind that. Men do. They're right, boys and girls. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. But anyway, I mean, that's what the way the teacher used to talk to us when I was in elementary school. Now, boys and girls, didn't nobody say, don't call me no boy. Is that right? You leave a lot to be desired. I mean, I'm just having a little fun with you now. I knew he wasn't gonna come in. I mean, I used to could bait people to come in because I want to convert them. I can convert anybody that'll talk to me. That's why the director of the Klan, he didn't want to come back in here because he couldn't find no fault in anything I was saying. Next thing he'd have been there talking about, you want to join me? He'd been asking me, could he join? So, I mean, look, I told you there's only one family on this planet when it comes to man. and it is the human family. You see? See, you don't forget something. God said, what do the initials of the U.S. spell? Let us make man in our image after our likeness. And do what? Take the dominion from the present ones and give it to the ones that we made in our image, after the natural mind and the spiritual mind. And we're going to inherit the earth after we get rid of all them who refuse to acknowledge Father. Didn't Jesus teach you to pray, Our Father? And he told the real Father, he said, don't you call no man on earth Father. So, what I look like calling them anybody Father. And I know more than all of you. See how I pick fights? But nobody wants to get in the ring with me. Geno Jennings threw in the towel. That's the first time I ever seen somebody throw in the towel and get declared the winner. Is that usually the one who lose throw in the towel? Isn't that right? Now, it's just like now I do people mentally like Muhammad Ali did them with his glove. He'd whoop up on them a little bit and then tell the referee, come on, stop this. And he just slap around a little more. And unless it was somebody who had been insulting him. Ali was the greatest fighter of all time. And nobody in their right mind would argue any different. Nah. And you done seen the greatest everything else. I don't know why you surprised to see the greatest one of we've been saying. God is great. God is great. The messenger didn't say that. The messenger said Allah is the greatest. You see? And he told me that's who I am. And he told me, I know you will not agree with me. He said, but you will grow to do that. And now you hear me stand up here repeating what he told me back in the 70s. You see them giant redwoods? And you remember we went up to Sequoia? How many of y'all went there with me? And got up there, and brother didn't want to drive out because he was scared. And made me drive the bus down. Because the brakes kept getting too hot. He said, no, you take it. And so I nursed us back down. But anyway, obviously. I mean, you stand up next to that giant tree and you come back in and look at these trees and they look like twigs. Huh? Once you see the greatest, there's nothing to compare it to, and there's no argument. Is that right? Now find somebody to argue with me. Well, you claiming I'm not the Son of Man. I mean, that's like, when the sun rises, you talking about all these stars out here. All them stars that you see out there, do you know how many trillions of stars you looking at night? And it's still dark out there. Then when that day star get here, you can't even see them no more. You should have known when the scripture said that Muhammad is the seal of the prophets, meaning ain't no more prophets coming. Well, once you see the last prophet, it ain't nobody else to see but the one who they all told you to look for. Here I am. Unless you know of somebody else. And if you know of somebody else, I want to know what they're hiding for. So, why you think, it's, let me let you hear something here. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was, as he said, even though the Bible called Elijah a prophet, he said, I don't call myself a prophet because you don't need no prophet. You need direction, and direction is a messenger, not a prophet. He said, I'm the end of prophets. He said, I bring you face to face with God in man. And he told you, if you're dealing with truth, you're dealing with Allah. The truth is God. Son of man, take the book and eat it up. Now God is in man. That's pretty concise, ain't it? You couldn't have said that no better yourself, huh? There you go. See? And he had already said it. I bring you face to face with God in man. The Lord is in his holy temple. Well, what's his holy temple? For God dwelleth in temples not made with hands. You don't go and build no human being with your hands. No, sir. No, sir. This is a temple that wasn't made with hands. You see. So, you can't build a house with your hands big enough to house God. Since God is infinite, he has to dwell in that which can house the infinite. That's the brain of man. Now let us, since ain't nobody talking, every teacher that I ever knew, they wanted the students to be quiet and listen. Now, it took me 40 years to get to the point where I knew how to make you be quiet. You can't make people be quiet when they think they have an argument with you. Not intelligent people. You can tell them be quiet all you want. They tell you, I don't know who you think you talking to. Be quiet, nothing. You answer my question. Mr. Son of Man. That's the way they talk to you. And then if somebody tell you, talk to me in private about it, say, well, if you wanted me to talk to you about it in private, you should have brought it up in private. But you brought it up in a public forum here. And in court, they will disallow certain evidence. But if the one side makes the mistake of saying, well, Your Honor, my client's character is impeccable, and I want to show you that. And when you start talking about talking about your client's reputation and all that being impeccable, that door might have been closed, that you couldn't bring up no indiscretions or whatnot of that man's client. But he opened the door when he started bringing it up. Then if he objected, he said, well, counsel, you open the door. You the one put in the jury's mind that the man is impeccable. Now, they got a right to show something else. Is that right? You see? So, matter of fact, it's just like what I was saying about Miss Trump. She now, you notice, she dressed modestly now. Even if her husband ain't got no respect for that office, if he had sense enough to follow her way of showing respect. That man ain't even got sense enough to put his wife in the car before he get in there. It's crazy. Man, you ain't going to come in here and lecture black people. I done forgot more about civilization than all of y'all ever know. Look, I just woke up a little while ago, and look, I'm lecturing you on civilized behavior. After you did your best to crush all civilized behavior. Because I sure didn't get this from you, white people. You know they say children learn what they live, right? If a child lives with criticism, he learns to what? Condemn. What have we lived with from them all our lives? Is it any wonder that every time one of us go to stand, and who did they teach us to always criticize and condemn? Each other. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Because look what has happened. Allah has let me go through so much that when I ask people to point out what they find wrong with me, I get no criticism. That means I'm ready to meet the world. Because if the Negro in America can't find nothing to criticize me for, I sure know can't nobody else do it. The Negro criticize you for getting up. Especially if you one of his brothers. That's not out of accord with the natural order of things. You just don't know. Your body, a man's body tries to destroy his own life germ. His life germ have to struggle to stay alive in his own body. Why? Because he's going to be released into a hostile environment. See, I'm used to hostility. I grew up in Watts. I'm used to people coming up to you, woofing at you. Well, you think Richard Pryor and them got that when they walked into jail and he walked in there and said, that's right, I'm bad, that kind of thing. You better know how to conduct yourself. You better not be walking around in the projects looking around. I better walk up to your head, nigga. You lost? Give me your money and give me that leather coat. And then he still bust you upside the head. You know, I mean, no, I didn't do that. No, that wasn't I didn't roll like that. You know, people were saved to walk, you know. But I know that growing up in the black community, you had to learn how to fight. If you were scared, you'd get over it. You get enough behind whoopings. And go through so many lunches without eating. You get over it. See, I always figure like this. I was always scared, apprehensive before the fight started. I ain't never gotten a fight that I wasn't scared. But the minute it got started, fear gone. It's time to fight now. You know, I mean, it's just like, if somebody, if you scared somebody gonna hit you, fear makes adrenaline flow. If you in a fight and you don't have any apprehension, you a bully. You fighting somebody, you picking on somebody that can't really fight back. Ain't no such thing as a fair fight that both sides ain't a little apprehensive. That's what make you able to punch fast, block fast, because your adrenaline is pumping. Fear is a good thing. Make you move. Don't make you run away. It makes you move. And you can use it. It makes you strong too. And that coupled with anger. You see, and that's why the scripture says perfect love casteth out fear. When you haven't did anything to somebody and they just picking on you and they just doing things to you because they figure they can get away with it. A man don't get afraid, he gets angry. So anyway, enough said on that. Let's get to what I want to show you here. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Remind me to say something about the merry-go-round and all that kind of thing, I want you to listen to the messenger.
And life could only stand so long as the light of truth did not make its appearance. But in this,
You know why he said the lie could only stand so long as the light of truth did not make its appearance. You see, when we were first introduced to the Holy Scriptures, we were introduced to the Holy Scriptures, which is the Word of God. We was introduced to it by the devil. And he was interpreting God's word to us, lying to us about what God's word meant, because he knew we didn't know. He lied to you about, I'll show you an example. Anyone who is practicing, who is really trying to live their life according to what's written in the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran, they are not practicing Orthodox Islam, and they are not practicing Christianity. They are practicing Islam. You see, they play with words on you. You know what Orthodox means? It means accepted by the world. No prophet was ever accepted by this world. And when you say you are practicing Orthodox religion, you are saying you are practicing the religion that the world accepts. Well, naturally, since it's of the world accepts it. I'm open for argument. If you want to come in here and argue that, you're welcome to come on. Is somebody unmuting their phone?
No, sir.
Okay. Anybody typing something? All right. You know, just people said that I'm the Antichrist, or I'm the devil, or whatever. Well, how come I'm not running from you? The book said resist the devil. You know what resist means? Try to ask him a question, and he'll run. That's what y'all do when I try to ask you something. By their works you shall know them. Okay. So the lie could only stand so long as the light of truth did not make its appearance. Huh? The light. What generally goes with light when you're talking about what you call intellectual things or spiritual things? Light of understanding. But the messenger just said, so long as the light of truth, the light of understanding of the word of God did not make its appearance. Now the light of understanding has come. The Holy Quran tells me to say, the truth has come and falsehood must vanish. Huh? You notice what you see out there tonight. You say it's dark out there. That's true if you know what you're saying. But if you don't know what you're saying, you think darkness is a thing. Darkness is not a thing. Darkness to you and I is the absence of the visible spectrum of light on what we are looking at. Darkness is an effect that happens in the absence of light. But darkness is not something that exists in and of itself. We actually create darkness. We form light, but we created darkness. See, by the way we formed our eyes. This is Allah teaching you now. The way he formed the eye. For the eye is the light of the body. If you don't believe it, close your eyes and see how quick everything go dark. Okay. So by the way we form the eye, we create the illusion of darkness. But it's light all around us. When you go outside, light is everywhere. You emitting light from yourself. And you think they can look through certain scopes and they get a heat signature. That's your body radiating light. Anyway, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he shared so many things that him and Jesus and Moses and David and Solomon, all of them they shared so many things that I have yet to teach on. That if I stood up here and taught you for 24/7, if I did it for a year, I wouldn't have even scratched the surface of what they shared when it's unfolded. It's like if you looked at it, what if you had held the seed of that giant redwood in your hand before it was planted? You would have had no comprehension of what you was holding in your hand. Now you talk about a beanstalk. You'd have thought that was a magic seed if you hadn't. We'd have thought them was magic seeds. If we was used to looking at these trees and we found a seed like that and planted that thing, it'd probably scared us all. Says this thing will ever stop growing? Huh? So there's much that we could teach on, but I want to first get to something to show you that there have been when the scripture called Elijah a prophet, that's exactly what he was. He was just not the prophet in the sense of bringing a scripture. But he foretold things that are happening right now. Listen.
There can be no judgment unless truth is told. How well is it Jesus describe this day and time? This parable so well, and so this field was good seed. But while these blessed night of evil days came and so perished among his group.
You remember when Jesus defined sleep? He said, our friend Lazarus sleepeth. Come, let us go and wake him. And the disciples said, Lord, if he sleep, he do well. Jesus looked at him and said, Lazarus is dead. Now, you notice, how do you spell if you're going to say, I'm going to lie down? How do you spell lie? L-I-E, huh? Why do we say lie down? Because when you see a person lying down, if you just get a quick glimpse of them, they may appear to you to be dead. And when they move, then the appearance lied to you, didn't it? I'm going to lie down. Do you understand? A sleeping person is the twin of a dead person. They're just not identical. But at first glance, they both look the same, don't they? You see? See, we created this language. I'm trying to show you how we got the term lie to mean deceive or to tell other than the truth. You see? You know, all closed eyes are not asleep. All closed eyes are not dead. Do you understand? So we shall not all sleep. But anyway, so as we look at what the messenger was quoting there, he said Jesus gave his parable in the 13th chapter of Matthew, where he said the kingdom of heaven is like unto a sower, like a man who sowed good seed in his field. This is the 24th verse. That's where he was quoting from. He said, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. Well, every prophet was a man, and he sowed good seed in his field of religion. Do you understand? And since we make no distinction between any of them, we didn't say the kingdom of heaven is like men who sowed good seed. No, a man. Because all of the prophets are actually one. They brought seeds, but they told you that the seed of the Lord is upon me. And he said, the words I'm speaking are not mine, but his that sent me. Is that right? So it's a man who sowed good seed in the field called religion. But while the prophets passed away, while they slept, and the evil darkness, the prince of darkness was ruling, he came and sowed tares, gave misunderstanding of the scripture, and went about doing things his way. And so the messenger, I know I'm making people mad, but the only one mad is the devil and his demons. I taught you what demon means. When you take the manhood when you take bones out of fish, they call it deboning the fish, or filleting the fish, which means to debone it. When you take manhood out of people, you demon them. You see, once you know longer, a serpent, a snake don't have no backbone. Once you take the manhood out of a man, then he can't stand upright. He's crawling on his belly. How about that? So let's go a little further here.
And so this field was good seed. But while he slept at night, an evil enemy came and sowed tares among his wheat. The next morning, the day of judgment, the nail of judgment, this is covering of what the enemy has done to the people. Sown in the heart of the righteous people. And now they are conscious of evil and must be judged according to their works. Stay dreadfully.
That is what happens when you listen to the devil. That deviser of illusion. The mind is, the imagination is really a dangerous fellow, because The imagination tells you you're going to have fun doing something. And then you discover that the imagination ain't nothing but the devil. And what you thought was going to be fun brings shame and disgrace to you. Then the devil deserts you. Then you can't imagine nothing then. What to do about it then. Then you need somebody to help get you out of it. So let me tell all of you something. I told you and I warned you not to let nothing come between you and me. Didn't I? I told you when your book say, you know like how people all the time, I fell in love, you sure did. Anytime you love anybody or anything more than you love the Lord, you have fallen in love. And so, can't nobody protect you when you have a free will if you're not willing to obey them. Allah can't, he protects us by our permission. We discover after a while that his instructions is not, we're not doing nothing for him. The good we're doing is protecting us. Let me tell you something about misery. Let me show you something here. Anybody got a any of y'all been smoking? Go in there and give me some matches. I want to show you something. Bring me a little bowl of water too. I need to show you something. You know, one picture is worth a what? Worth 1,000 words, right? All right. Okay. You scared to put water in there? Let's put some water in there. Don't put it. Fill it halfway up. Now, I want you to see something here. You see what I did? I just struck a match. Now I want you to watch this. All right. Well, let me try it again. Thank you. I like to make things plain. Now I'm gonna try to light this and keep it lit this time. All right. There. Now that's lit, right? Now here's one that ain't burning. Now watch this. Oh, now both of them burning, huh? That's what happened to all of you that decide you're going to hang out with people who chose to go back to the fire. You're going to become fuel for what you say. Now, people who have never been in this circle with us, I go after them. People who was in this circle with us and left, I'm through with them. Wickedness is to man as that fire was to that paper. You saw what was happening to the paper while the fire was living? What was happening to the paper? It was being destroyed, huh? And while you let wickedness live in you, you keep on sympathizing with people who Allah is angry with. He gonna make you get over there with them pretty soon. Make you think it's your idea. The only reason you able to come to me is because Allah drawed you to me. And the same God that drawed you to me can take you away from me. I just want to let you know that. You gonna do what you want with these people who walk out on me. You know, I want all of you that's listening that walk out on me, I want you to know this. You see, the ignorant ones here may not know what you're saying, but I know what you're saying. You're saying that if you had your way, everything I've been working for and sacrificing for and undid my whole adult life ain't worth squat to you. And not only that, you heard me play a police officer, a man in uniform. He didn't say, I don't kill nothing but black people. He said, we don't kill nothing but black people. Haven't you seen the videos? I don't blame white people for what they're going to do to you because you knew it and you went to them. And all them rednecks out there, I told you that all of you that look like me and go join with them, you deserve the same thing they're going to get. I don't care how mad you get. Curse and swear and do all that ain't going to change nothing. When it's just time to hit your rump, it's going to be just like what my daddy used to be beating my rump, and I'd be telling him, I ain't going to do it no more. Yeah, I know you ain't. And he'd keep on wailing on me. Even that taught me a lesson. And it was a lesson that I was supposed to learn. I remember that fella, Robert Blake, that played Beretta. He said, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. You remember he used to say that? Yeah. Well, if you can't stand the punishment, then you shouldn't have did the sin. That's why after I speak to you, now you can be judged. Oh, yeah. All I can tell you is you better repent. But ain't nothing to repent. Ain't nothing to call nobody to repentance with that's done called the word of God a lie. Ain't nothing I can do for you because you don't believe. Once you fall in love with evil, then you remember what happened to Anakin? When he started listening to the emperor, his whole mindset changed, and so did his whole appearance. He became arrogant. He became self-willed. and greedy for power and greedy for other things. Huh? And he became a murderer. Huh? Let me show you something here. Before I let the messenger finish, I want to show you something else. Give me a minute. And if anybody trying to say something to me, you let them say it. Yeah, let them get it out. Yeah. Everybody being judged now. Now, you remember what Dylan Roof said he was doing? He had to protect white people from black people murdering them. Now, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to stand up here and try to tell you there ain't no black mass murderers. There's a whole lot of them walking around out there. But they ain't been killing white people. In the first place, the white man wouldn't stand for it. Huh? But let me show you. Now, here that fool, I mean, he pretty dumb devil to think that that lie he was telling was going to float. Let me show you this.
Number 25, David Berkowitz. Known as the Son of Sam, he carried out a series of shootings around New York City in the summer of 1976. He taunted the police with threats and letters, but was eventually caught. Number 24, Edmund Kemper. Known as the co-ed killer, Kemper is an American serial killer who murdered his grandparents when he was 15. He later killed and dismembered 6 female hitchhikers around Santa Cruz, California, and finally murdered his own mother and her friend before turning himself in. He asked for the death penalty, but did not receive it. Number 23, Larry Whitaker and Roy Norris. Nicknamed the Toolbox Killers, these two murdered 5 young women in California in 1979. They lured them into their van and drove them to secluded areas before raping, torturing, and murdering them using a number of tools. Norris eventually testified against Whitaker and was spared the death penalty. Number 22, Ian Brady and Mira Hindley. They killed 5 children between 1963 and 65 in Manchester, England.
I got a question for all you white supremacists and people who say you love white people so much. How come you don't go after these people? You're a liar and a murderer. And you're too cowardly to go after your people because you know that there's some of your people that come and get that wrong. So you go find some defenseless people. You find some people sitting up in church praying or having Bible study, and you go shoot them down. You go where ain't nobody carrying a gun but you. You low down dog.
Their victims were between the ages of 10 and 17 and were sexually assaulted before being brutally murdered. Hindley died in prison, and Brady is still in maximum confinement. Number 21, Kenneth Bianchi and Angelo Buono. In 1978, these two cousins kidnapped, raped, and strangled 10 girls above the hills of Los Angeles, which led to their name, the Hillside Stranglers. Both were sentenced to life in prison. Number 20, Dennis Rader, the BTK killer. Between 1974 and 1991, he murdered 10 people around Wichita, Kansas. He sent letters to the police under the name BTK, which stood for Bind, Torture, Kill. He disappeared in 1988, but then reemerged in 2005 when he sent a floppy disk to the press. The disk was traced and he was convicted to life in prison. Number 19, Donald Gaskins. In 1969, he began picking up and torturing hitchhikers on highways in the American South. He later claimed that he killed 80 to 90 people. He was eventually caught and put on death row, and he then went on to commit a further murder in the high-security prison, becoming the only man to have ever killed an inmate on death row. Number 18, Peter Manuel. An American-born Scottish serial killer, he murdered 9 people across southern Scotland between 1956 and 1958. He was caught after he paid with banknotes taken from one of the victims and was one of the last prisoners to be hanged in Scotland before the abolition of capital punishment. Number 17, John George Hay. Known as the acid bath murderer, he would charm wealthy individuals into believing that he was a successful businessman. He would then lure them to a warehouse and shoot them, after which he dissolved their bodies in sulfuric acid. He was hanged at Wandsworth Prison. Number 16, Fred and Rose West. Between 1967 and 1987, Fred West and his wife Rose tortured, raped, and killed at least 11 young girls at their home in Gloucester, which was later nicknamed the House of Horrors. After being caught, Fred hung himself in his prison cell. Their house was also demolished to discourage souvenir hunters. Number 15, Arthur Shawcross. Known as the Genesee River Killer, Shawcross was initially imprisoned for raping and killing an 8-year-old girl. He was released, however, and went on to brutally kill 12 prostitutes. He was sentenced to 250 years, but died of heart failure in 2008. Number 14, Peter Sutcliffe. Known as the Yorkshire Ripper, he was convicted of murdering 13 women around Leeds in northern England. He was caught for driving with false number plates and eventually sentenced to life in prison. Number 13, Richard Ramirez. An American serial killer and Satan worshiper, he terrorized Los Angeles between 1984 and 1985. Nicknamed the Night Stalker, he broke into homes, shooting, stabbing, raping, and mutilating his victims. He was sentenced to death, but died in prison in June of 2013. Number 12, Jeffrey Dahmer. Known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, Dahmer raped, murdered, and dismembered 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. He also exhibited necrophilia in 8 parts of his later victims. He was eventually caught when a would-be victim overpowered him, and not long after that, he was beaten to death by a fellow inmate at the Columbia Correctional Institution. Number 11, Dennis Nilsen. The British equivalent of Jeffrey Dahmer, Nilsen murdered 15 men at his home in London between 1978 and 1983. He dissected their bodies and flushed their remains down the toilet. When human flesh was discovered in the sewer system, this led to his arrest. He's still being held at Full Sutton Maximum Security Prison in Yorkshire, England. Number 10, Ted Bundy. One of the most widely known murderers of the 20th century, Ted killed numerous women in the 1970s. He typically lured his victims into secluded places before raping and killing them. He kept at least 12 decapitated heads in his apartment as trophies, and he managed to escape police custody twice, but was eventually executed in Florida.
Now, let me say this. If you think that white people are going to tell on theirs and we're going to let ours slide, you got nothing coming. Evil is evil. It don't make no difference what color you are. That's why the messenger said we must rid the earth of open enemies and secret enemies. That's why we said that the devil is the skunk of the planet Earth. What color is the skunk? I just couldn't download it. They wouldn't let me download it, but I had some black ones that they was showing across that and killed up a bunch of sisters. Just 7 black women, 12 black women, just murdering. All of you got to go. You know, understand something. Just like can't no white man's hide in the black community. That's why he pray on, he go where he can hide. He can hide among white folks. Look at Donald Trump. And I'm not saying that to make him look like he's some murderer or something. No. But I'm saying it because people like him who somehow praise people like Adolf Hitler. They will convince you to do things. And then they will wash their hands of it, act like they didn't have nothing to do with it. I didn't tell nobody to do that. You didn't forbid nobody to do it either. You couldn't even get that man to say that the Ku Klux Klan, he don't want no praise from them or nothing from them. Why? Because he agrees with them. If somebody trying to talk to me from the other side, I want to talk to them. I want them to come in here and try to show some indignation. Here, this just blowed Dylan Roof right out the water, didn't it? How come he wasn't going after people like that? Bunch of lying, murdering devils.
Number 9, Charles Ng and Leonard Lake. Believed to have raped and killed 25 victims in Calaveras County, California. They filmed themselves raping and torturing them. Their crimes eventually came to light after Lake committed suicide and Ng was caught shoplifting. He tried to flee to Canada but was eventually returned to the U.S.
You notice the other fellow there looked like a Chinese or Japanese, right? The devil don't care what skin he in. I tell you what, does it matter what skin you in to be a doctor? What about a carpenter? A brick mason? Knowledge to be whatever you choose to be, it don't refuse to come into you simply because of your color. Notice when Jesus described the devil, he said, "Ye are of your father." You see, the mind is the father of all of the deeds and actions that you do. The mind fathers that. Ye are of your father, the devil. And the lusts of your father you will do. The desires. If you don't believe that's true, tell me something that your mind desires to do that the body can refuse. That's why you say the cup is of what's in it. Is that right? He said, "You are of your father, the devil." He was a murderer from the very beginning. You go to Genesis, which is the beginning, and you find there was a man named Cain who committed the first murder. And who did he murder? His own sibling. And what has man been doing ever since? Murdering his own fellow man. Using all kinds of delusions or illusions to justify it.
Put on death row. Number 8, John Wayne Gacy. Gacy sexually assaulted and murdered 33 young men between 1972 and 1978 around Chicago, Illinois. He lured them to his home before strangling them and spent 14 years on death row before being executed in 1994. Number 7, Andrei Chikatilo. The Soviet serial killer, nicknamed the Butcher of Rostov, raped, murdered, and mutilated at least 52 women in Russia between 1978 and 1990. He was caught after police suspected him and conducted surveillance. He was then executed by a firing squad 2 years later. Number 6, Tommy Lynn Sells. Claiming to have killed 70 people, Sells was eventually captured after breaking into the bedroom of a 10-year-old girl, stabbing her, and leaving her for dead. She survived and managed to alert the neighbors. He was sentenced to death in Livingston, Texas. Number 5, Gary Ridgway. Having been convicted of 49 murders throughout Washington state, he managed to avoid the death penalty after giving detailed confessions of his crimes. Number 4, Pedro Rodriguez Filho. Committing his first murder at the age of 14, he started out by killing local drug dealers in his Brazilian neighborhood to avenge his girlfriend who was killed while he was in prison. He was eventually caught and sent back to prison where he killed his father, who was also there for murder. He went on to kill 47 more inmates while in prison. Number 3.
That was the only one that seemed like he did it for a noble reason. Drugs killed his girlfriend and he went after drug dealers.
Daniel Camargo Barbosa. This Colombian serial killer is believed to have raped and murdered over 80 girls in Colombia in the 70s and 80s. He was captured, and after his escape, he went on to kill 70 more girls in Ecuador. After raping them, he would hack them apart with a machete. He was eventually sentenced to 16 years in prison, which is the maximum allowed in Ecuador. He was then murdered by a relative of one of his victims while in prison. Number 2, Dr. Harold Shipman. One of the most prolific serial killers in recorded history, this English doctor is said to be responsible for up to 250 murders. It was eventually discovered that he was poisoning his patients and forging their wills. He hung himself in prison in 2004. And number 1, Pedro Alonso Lopez. This Colombian serial killer is accused of raping and killing over 300 girls across South America. He was arrested when an attempted abduction failed and he was trapped by market traders. He confessed, but police only believed him when a flash flood uncovered a mass grave containing many of his victims.
Excuse me. So all that so-called indignation that Dylan Roof had and talking about what he had to do to them black people, that wasn't worth squat. And that's just a few of the white serial killers of white people. So what he coming over in the black community for, trying to kill somebody? Because he's a murderer from the beginning. And then when you get on him, ask him about, he lied. He was even lying for his reason of doing it. He was doing it because he's too much of a coward to go after somebody that might could shoot back. I know one thing. When that, where's the fella from? Was he from the Sudan or wherever? That went in that white church? Huh? He was from Sudan? And they didn't, they had an usher in there that wasn't going to stand there and just wait to die. Huh? He went after him. He might have got shot, but he stopped him, didn't he? And he's still alive. Yes.
Not offering any kind of contradiction, but he was actually pistol whipping that usher and he shot himself. Then the usher ran out and got his gun out of his car. And
look, that's the problem with fear. Look, if you're going to die anyway, why not die trying to fight the one who's trying to kill you? Why give him the courtesy of you just standing there waiting on him to kill you? So, anyway, I remember when I first heard about it, I said, I sure hope he ain't black. We are not cowards. We are not serial killers. But just because somebody look like you don't mean they're your family. You remember that. Yeah. I'm going to show you one more thing here before I go into something else I want you to see and hear.
To be confined in prison without the benefit of parole for the rest of your natural life.
Normally, we love young people, but these kids are beyond salvation. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most evil kids in history.
This awful, raging, eating feeling inside. I could feel it consuming my insides.
For this list, we'll be focusing on young people who took up a life of crime and subsequently crossed one moral line or another. Our focus is primarily on people 18 and younger. Yes, surprising as it may be, there are more than a few cases of adolescents and teenagers going down a dark path.
Now, I want to say this to you. That's the reason why I told you, you cannot ignore lies and expect them to just go away. When you ignore a lie, it's the same as saying Godspeed. That's the same as saying, I wish you success. The Holy Quran didn't say we ignore lies. It says we hurl truth against falsehood. So it knocks it out of the brain and lo, it vanishes. Do you hear me? Now, I told you, white people, stop lying to your children. Stop letting people lie to your children. Tell them the truth. Tell them that they came from black people and that all that stuff you've been saying about black people, that's a lie. If you want to save them, you better tell them.
So you won't find the Menendez brothers here, since they were 21 and 18 years old at the time of their parents' murders. Number 10, Willie Boskin. For some people, there just doesn't appear to be any option except crime. That's what Harlem native Willie Boskin seemed to think. He believed that, like his father, he himself would end up being a murderer. Between March 19th and 27th, 1978, the 15-year-old fatally shot 3 people, including one New York Transit employee. Boskin pleaded guilty, but was initially sentenced to a mere 5 years in a youth facility. He later went on to accumulate a sentence of 82 years to life for assault, arson, and attempted escape from a correctional facility. Number 9, Josh Phillips.
I knew Josh, and he was out visibly. He was one of the nicest kids in the neighborhood.
Is it right to call this an error in judgment? Back in November of 1998, a young girl named Maddie Clifton went missing in Jacksonville, Florida. A week after Maddie's disappearance, her body was found in the waterbed of 14-year-old Josh Phillips, who had beaten and stabbed her to death. Phillips has since claimed he regrets the incident, but with a life sentence on first-degree murder charges and no parole in sight, we doubt he'll be leaving prison anytime soon.
In my own time, I believe I will find the forgiveness that will satisfy my heart.
Number 8, Edmund Kepler.
I have no thoughts at all that Ed could do what he said he had done.
Appearing well-adjusted can disguise some of your worst qualities.
I began destroying inanimate objects, valuables of mine and others. Then I began killing dogs and cats.
For instance, young Edmund managed to convince psychologists at the Atascadero State Hospital that he was of sound mind, despite having killed his grandparents in the aftermath of an argument when he was 15.
He called his mom after he killed his grandparents, his father's parents, and said, "Mom, I just killed. What should I do?" And she said, "Call the cops."
He managed to avoid serving more than 5 years in prison and was released in 1969. But tragically, that allowed him to murder 6 female college students, his mother, and his mother's friend 3 years later. It goes without saying that appearances can be deceiving.
So how come they get in the car with somebody at that time? She judged me not to be that guy. I didn't look like him.
Number 7, Graham Young.
He was really educating himself into being an extremely expert chemist. It's just unfortunate that the chemistry he was interested in was poisonous.
Suddenly, tea seems a lot less appetizing now. Meet Graham Young, a native of Neasden in London, who had been fascinated with the effects of poison since his childhood.
He'd slipped some antimony into his friend's sandwich. Williams would be off school for a few days with some mystery. Doctors would say it was a virus or a bug.
In 1962, Young was arrested after confessing to the attempted poisoning of his family, an act which included serving his own sister tea laced with deadly nightshade. The teen underwent 9 years of detainment in the psychiatric facility Broadmoor Hospital before he was released, only to later use his position as a quartermaster to poison approximately 70 people with tea, which earned him the nickname the Teacup Poisoner. Fitting, but unsettling.
He should never have been let out of Broadmoor in the first place. I accept that he manipulated and was clever there.
Number 6, Brian and David Freeman. Siblings stick together, even in the face of a criminal investigation. Brothers Brian and David, the eldest children of the Freeman family, were also fervent neo-Nazis who resented their strict upbringing as Jehovah's Witnesses. The duo's resulting violent relationship with their family came to a head in February of 1995, when both brothers were apprehended for the murder of their parents and younger brother Eric.
All came out that one time. I think about it. Just happened.
Brian, David, and their associate/cousin Ben Birdwell conspired to plead guilty and avoid the death sentence. They got their wish, but landed lifetime sentences in the process.
I never thought about the consequences of anything I could have done. Sorry, that's all good. Care about the future.
Number 5, Brenda Spencer. Not liking Mondays doesn't seem like a valid reason for murder, yet this is supposedly the excuse 16-year-old Brenda Ann Spencer gave for committing a school shooting. On January 29, 1979, Ms. Spencer fired 30 rounds of ammunition at Cleveland Elementary School. The shots killed the school's principal and a custodian, while leaving 8 children and a police officer injured. Upon surrendering to the police, Brenda pled guilty to 2 counts of murder and assault with a weapon, earning her a sentence of 25 years to life.
This is the type of case where, in our view, she should never be released from prison. She should spend the rest of her entire life in prison for what she's done.
Number 4, John Venables and Robert Thompson. Back in 1993, a 2-year-old Liverpool boy was kidnapped, brutally tortured, and left on train tracks to be bisected. The culprits were John Venables and Robert Thompson, a pair of students who happened to be cutting class that day, and who happened to be no older than 10 years of age. The public was shocked when Venables and Thompson were brought to trial and given a minimum of 8 years in detention before being released under heavy restriction. We're still not sure how we feel about the whole ordeal. Number 3, Jesse Pomeroy. In March of 1874, 10-year-old Katie Curran went missing in South Boston. A month later, the body of 4-year-old Horace Millen turned up in a marsh. Authorities turned their gaze to Jesse Pomeroy, a local teenager previously convicted of brutally attacking other kids. Convicted by the end of the year for murdering Curran, Pomeroy went down in history as the youngest person ever charged with first-degree murder in Massachusetts. He would spend the remainder of his life in solitary confinement before passing away in 1932. Number 2, Mary Bell.
The first thing that comes into your mind about Mary is her eyes. She's got very, very distinctive blue eyes, very attractive blue eyes, but they are very distinctive and it can fix you and stay.
Hard lives make for hardened people, but this seems extreme. Over the summer of 1968, police in the Scotswood area of England's Newcastle upon Tyne investigated the separate murder of 2 toddlers, each killed via strangulation. By August, local child Mary Bell and her friend Norma Joyce Bell were charged with both murders, though the ruling was ultimately manslaughter. While Bell's friend was acquitted, Bell herself would spend 12 years in prison based on diminished responsibility.
She had certain things that one felt were missing in her emotions. That was my impression.
It was ruled that Mary had symptoms of psychopathy and posed an uncontrollable threat to children. Given the circumstances, that doesn't seem like a bad call.
She'd come after this very balanced, sensible person and sorted out her life with some ups and downs in it, and I think has become a very good citizen.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable, or in this case, dishonorable mentions.
I wasn't thinking that, I wasn't like mad at them or anything like that. Just, I feel like it happened.
If I knew then what I know now, I would have never have been there. I would have stopped everything from happening, and I would have never let Shanna be picked up.
Shirley writes in a journal, "We killed an old lady today."
Now, she's not going to even actually say what the note said. And the note said, "We killed an old lady today, and it was lots of fun." That's the kind of world that you live in, where people had picnics while they was, that's what they call it, picnic. And they go kill people and let their children watch them murder people. That's what was done to us. And now we so messed up with the mind of them, and now their mind is our mind. And we don't have no respect for human life either. But you better hurry up and get some. Don't you ain't gonna be sucking air on this planet.
I would have never let Shanna be picked up.
Shirley writes in a journal, "We killed an old lady today, and it was fun." Number 1, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. We've seen more than a few school shootings in history, such as those perpetrated by Mitchell Johnson and Andrew Golden, Jamie Rouse, Kip Kinkle, and Barry Lukaitis. But the one orchestrated by these 2 is by far the most traumatizing. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, a pair of troubled teens from Columbine, Colorado, began preparations in 1999 to lash out against society. The duo marched into Columbine High School on April 20th, carrying homemade bombs and various firearms, proceeding to kill 13 people and injure 24. To top it off, Harris and Klebold simultaneously committed suicide as police entered the school, ensuring that the pair could not be brought to justice.
These 2 kids did not come out of their mother's womb hating. What happened from the time they were born to the time that they carried out this?
Do you agree with it?
I mean, you got a president now that would pat him on the back. He said there were some good people there that ran that woman down. You know, he said he care about the American flag, right? He don't want nobody to take a knee while the Star Spangled Banner is playing, right? Do you suppose he's aware that the Star Spangled Banner that is the result of what it's singing about is the Civil War? Do you suppose he's aware of that? And what about it says, and oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight gave proof, let me see, through the perilous fight over the ramparts we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that that our flag was still there. Well, who was trying to get rid of that flag? That one that's got the cross in it, the rebel flag. That's the one that's trying to get rid of it, as far as I remember. Ain't that how it go? Well, then why is he? I mean, he's so crazy about the stars and stripes. Why he ain't up in arms about these people flying these rebel flags around here? And all of them is the ones that's talking about this black man. But I noticed they don't care nothing about the stars and stripes. Otherwise, they wouldn't think they needed that rebel flag. You say, well, you got the crescent and star. Yeah, my flag fly all the time. Or haven't you noticed that the sun, moon, and star are the only lights that you see up over everything? And in your Pledge of Allegiance, you even say, one nation under who? So I know you're not offended because I'm flying the sun, moon, and stars. You got part of my flag in your flag. So that's why they don't say nothing to me. Because whatever they think they might can attack me with, I'll take it and use it on them.
Our list, what sinister kids gave you goosebumps? For more emotionally charged top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
How do you get the knowledge to outsmart the police? Watching television, believe it or not.
How did he get it? Watching television. They poison the brains of their own children, setting them up to be destroyed. You remember I told you that wherever hatred is, love cannot be? You cannot have love and hate in your heart. You got to choose which one you're going to act on. And whichever one you give dominion to, all your actions from that point on is going to be based on the one that has dominion. You see, I don't have a heart full of hatred. I don't do what I do based on hatred. I do it based on love. That's why when even my enemies come to me, I offer them the olive branch. I offer them a chance we don't have to be enemies. Because I don't look at my enemy as flesh. I see the real enemy. Because at one time I was a host to the real enemy. But if you think that means that, like I was telling the young sergeant today that, you know, stop by to talk with me. He's a recruiter, very respectful young. He's a white man, white youngster. And I told him that no, we don't join the military because we can't participate in wars to take human life. Said, but, you know, if that don't mean, you know, nonviolence don't mean that we will not fight. It simply means that we are not aggressive. We will not aggress on people. But if this country, if America was attacked, then I have to fight because my family is here. You won't have to come looking for me. I'll come looking for you. You know, to get what I need to deal with whatever come up if that be the case. Of course, any country would be a fool to attack this country with me sitting here. You don't want to do that. You just think you do. You better get that thought out your head. So, it's not your place to judge America. That's my place. How can you judge what you cannot understand? You make yourself unfit to judge America simply because you hate America. Anyone that hates somebody who's on trial, you ain't got no business sitting in judgment over them. You don't understand that, do you? How can you not understand that? And we've been up in this country being judged by people who hate us, knowing we couldn't get no fair deal out of it because the judge hated us, the prosecution hated us, the jury hated us, and everything. How do you not understand that it's wrong for you to hate people and then at the same time set yourself up as their judge? The judge has to render a just decision based on evidence, not on personal vindictiveness. Now, let me let you hear this. It's time for me to cut to the chase a minute. So I'm going to cut to the chase. I want you to hear what the messenger said. And then I'm going to show you that the messenger knew what he was talking about.
They don't tell you I mean like them Muhammad. Neither evil did it. And so careless among his food. The next morning, the day of judgment, the kneeling of judgment, the discovery of what the enemy has done to the people. So in the heart of the righteous evil, and now they are anxious at evil and must be judged according to their works. Dreadfully. For great judgment is now. What you know in America? Stars, wind, rain, hail, snow. How much of this is yet to come until that you are totally helpless? How snow upon your country from the north? As your Bible teaches you in Job, he has saved this snow and ice for the day of battle and war. It's going on. There's plenty snow in the north, plenty ice in the north, to be hurled down upon poor America, who has no defense against such calamity. At the same time, in the tropical region, rising up and growing stars decorating, moving them northward and northwestward to strike the shores of America, destroy her home, destroy the lives of her cattle, destroy her people. They're moving in America now while I'm talking.
What do you think? He even told you the direction they was moving, didn't he? Okay. Wait until you hear this part. Then I'm gonna let you hear something else.
Oh, woe to America. Woe to America. She will not heed to the voice of righteousness. Not even from her own people. There are some of them who wishes to go right. They are out there trying to condemn those among them who refuse to listen to the truth. These white people, God will give them some way and will delay their time, their doom, to some future years yet to come.
Think over that. Now, I want you to listen to this and look at it. What he says, some of them here and there is now speaking out against the evil doing of themselves. I showed you the white man that told you that you black people try to tell other black people that they being committed genocide on, and that kind of they tell them that's just you talking. He said, well, I'm a white man and I'm telling you. Huh? Now listen to this.
Obviously, race is the elephant in the room, and we all understand that. But unless it is talked about constantly, it's not going to get better. People get bored. Oh, is it that again? They pull the race card again. Why do we have to talk about that? Well, because it's uncomfortable. And there has to be an uncomfortable element in the discourse for anything to change. Whether it's the LGBT movement or, women's suffrage, race, it doesn't matter. People have to be made to feel uncomfortable.
You know why? You know what he means by that? Can't no Negro that's been taught by white people have a discussion about race with white people because he's scared of white people. Because the only thing he's going to be doing is regurgitating back to white people what he learned from white people. That conversation has to be had with an independent thinking black man. That's me. I'm the only one who can have that conversation with white people. I know that offends you because you on an ego trip. If you thought you was equal to me in knowledge, you would have been and came in here and had a conversation with me. So you're not sitting up out there with wind in your jaws, mad at me for speaking the truth. And you're too stupid to get behind me and help me to help you. But like he said, they don't want to have a serious conversation because it makes them uncomfortable. It's always going to be uncomfortable when you bring up a subject and it makes one side or the other have to acknowledge their guilt. Ain't nobody comfortable just acknowledging they're guilty. But you'd be surprised how liberating it is once you are willing to acknowledge it. Because the one thing about guilt, The reason that we are capable of feeling guilt is so that we can actually become better. Guilt generally will make you want to do better. It'll make you say, well, okay, well, what I need to do to make amends. I want to make this right. Now, if the person that you're talking to, when you tell them, I want to make it right, and they start saying, I'm going to refuse, I don't want to talk about it, I refuse, well, then you have no more that you can do. When you offer to make it right and they won't let you, you have nothing else to feel guilty about. Who are you to tell somebody they can't repent? That's a hell of a nerve. When the messenger said the scientists have agreed that the white race has been found disagreeable to live with in peace. Oh, well, that's fine that the scientists agreed on it. But what about the one who made him? I can make anybody again. I can remake anybody. With God, all things are possible. Here's living proof of it right here. You think some of these white people ain't listening to me? Listen to him.
And especially white people, because we're comfortable. It's like you're at the 50-meter mark in a 100-meter dash. And you got that kind of a lead. Yes, because you were born white, you have advantages that are systemically, culturally, psychologically there. And they have been built up and cemented for hundreds of years. People want to hold their position. People want the status quo. People don't want to give that up. And until it's given up, it's not going to be fixed. I think that we do live in a difficult time, and it doesn't do a whole lot of good. We all know the situation, and it gets beaten up every day by talking heads, and it starts to get personal. And I think we all know why. We all know where the source is, where a lot of the division comes from. But to dwell on that, sometimes I think is the wrong way to go, because it's so obvious now. It's boring. The childishness and the gratuitous fear-mongering and race-baiting has been so consistent that it's almost expected. The bar has been lowered so far that I think it's more important to be thinking about what to do for more organic.
You notice the anguish in his voice. Here's a man that has been let down by his country. But he thought that he was better and his country was better than to put someone like Donald Trump as president. I mean, they actually just, if it was a high jump, it would be like they just set the bar at 2 feet for him. You know, man, I'm going to tell you something. I know how he feels. Same way I felt seeing them people, after all that I had put into the Nation of Islam of myself to see them give it over to a man who didn't believe in our teachings. And I mean, I lost respect for Minister Farrakhan. And, when I say lost respect, I used to look up to him. I used to look up to Minister Abdul Kareem because I thought they stood for something. And then I saw all of them get together like a bunch of greedy dogs just to hold on to a position with a man who was known to have not believed in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I almost lost my mind behind that. But thanks to Allah, I made it through it. And now I can comfort others who maybe they just couldn't stand. They went back to doing a lot of things. Well, I'm telling all of you, if you just turn around, I forgive you. You can come on and we can go on and build our nation. And your faith was not in vain. Your belief in the messenger was not in vain. I'm proving that to you now. The messenger said, if the God of truth and justice will not come out and defend our truth, and the author of wickedness and lying, if the liar is going to triumph over the truth, then it would have been better that we believed in lying. If the lie is going to triumph over the truth. Then he said, but he comes out himself to be the champion and lead the righteous to victory. Well, I'm here myself to lead you. He told you that. He said, we have God with us. We have him as our guide. We don't have to sit around here and ask the question, what must be done? Get up and let's go and do something. Now, I can see that he hates what he have to stand up there and share, but his manhood will not let him be quiet. And you can see he's forcing himself to speak. That's what that little sound is you hear coming from deep down in his chest. Anguish. Listen to the man. Forget what color he is. Listen to him. And you will actually feel what he feels. Well, if you can, I can. I know what he's talking about. And whenever you think that, I mean, when you have a high opinion, as every patriot should have a high opinion of his own nation. When someone just comes and snatches, makes naked and bare that the opinion that you have of your people and your nation is somewhat undeserved, it can knock the wind out of you, man. It can really knock the wind out of you. I'm going to start it over. It ain't but 7 minutes.
Obviously, race is the elephant in the room, and we all understand that. But unless it is talked about constantly, it's not going to get better. People get bored. Oh, is it that again? We pull the race card again. Why do we have to talk about that? Well, because it's uncomfortable. And there has to be an uncomfortable element in the discourse for anything to change. You know, whether it's an LGBT movement or, you know, women's suffrage, race, it doesn't matter. People have to be made to feel uncomfortable, and especially white people, because we're comfortable. It's like you're at the 50-meter mark in a 100-meter dash. And you got that kind of a lead. Yes, because you were born white, you have advantages that are systemically, culturally, psychologically there. And they have been built up and cemented for hundreds of years. People want to hold their position. People want the status quo. People don't want to give that up. And until it's given up, it's not going to be fixed. I think that we do live in a difficult time, and it doesn't do a whole lot of good. We all know the situation, and it gets beaten up every day by talking heads, and you know, it starts to get personal. And I think we all know why. We all know where the source is, where a lot of the division comes from. But to dwell on that, sometimes I think is the wrong way to go, because it's so obvious now. It's boring. You know, the childishness and the gratuitous fear-mongering and race-baiting has been so consistent that it's almost expected. You know, the bar has been lowered so far that I think it's more important to be thinking about what to do at a more organic, roots-based, you know, level. Thinking about the efforts to restrict voter registration. You know, comments that demean cultures, ethnic groups, races, women, those sorts of things. You know, what can be done in an organic way to fight that? Because we know how everything happens. We know where the power in the country is. We know the racism that exists. But it's gone beyond that to the point where I'm more worried about and more confused by the people around our president. These are intelligent people who know exactly what's going on, who were basically very negative about his actions, but now it seems that it's condoned. And, you know, we saw it this weekend with his comments about people that should be fired or people that shouldn't be allowed to do this sort of thing. I wonder what the people think about who voted for him, where their line is, how much they can take, where does the morality and the decency kick in. And I understand very well, you know, they didn't like their choice. Economically, a lot of people had a problem. And he was the right guy at the right time to tap into that mood. And people overlooked one hell of a lot to be able to pull that trigger and vote in that direction. But it was because they wanted change. They felt ignored. They actually thought something would happen that would aid them. But at what price is the question. And as we see the actions over and over and over again, one wonders what is in their heads, and have they come to the conclusion that they had the wrong vehicle. They might have had good ideas and good reasons why they wanted to go the way they went, but someone else that had a little bit more decency about how they approach other people and other groups might have served better. And that's what I worry about in the country. You wonder about if you live where you thought you lived. I just heard a comment this morning from a NASCAR owner and from Mr. Petty. that just blew me away. Just blew me away. Where the owner described the fact that he would get the Greyhound bus tickets for anybody to leave and then be fired. And Mr. Petty, who said people who act the way we saw on Sunday, they should leave the country. That's where I live. I had no idea that I lived in a country where people would actually say that sort of thing. I'm not totally naive, but I think these people have been enabled by an example that we've all been given. And you've seen it in Charlottesville and on and on and on. That's not a surprise. Get over it. You know, what do we do to get it done? To go to the grassroots and not allow this to happen again. You know, our country's an embarrassment in the world. This is an individual who actually thought that when people held arms during the games that they were doing it to honor the flag. That's delusional.
I mean, he just telling you the truth. Most of these people don't know what the flag represents, obviously. You're talking about the land of the free and the home of the brave. And then you go against everything that you claim the flag stands for. With people who, if they'd have had their way, that flag wouldn't be flying right now. The Confederacy didn't want that flag. You lying devils. Nah. Guess what's going on right now? The tail wagging the dog. He said it right. America is an embarrassment to the world. You think somebody looking to America for leadership now? Putin's starting to look good to him. This man walking around in front of people with his shirt off and all that kind of thing. I mean, what? That's uncivilized. It's beneath the dignity of the office that he holds. But they don't understand that. And proof that they don't understand it is that they're doing these things that are beneath the dignity of the office that they are in, which shows that they don't know how to respect their own office. So how can they be expected to respect anyone else? I mean, nicknaming the heads of other people's country and all that kind of thing publicly? Your world is doomed.
During the games that they were doing it to honor the flag. That's delusional. Absolutely delusional, but it's what we have to live with. So you got a choice. We can continue to bounce our heads off the wall with this conduct, or we can decide that the institutions of our country are more important, that people are more important, that the decent America that we all thought we had and want is more important, and get down to business at the grassroots level and do what we have to do. I guess that's enough for now.
Hey, NBC News viewers.
think I better let you hear the messenger just one more time.
They don't tell you I speak dreadfully. Oh, save this snowy night. For this people America who has no defense against such calamity. At the same time, in the Pakistan region, to strike the shores of America, destroy her home, destroy the lives of her cattle, destroy her people. They're moving in America now while I'm talking. Woe, woe to America. Woe to America. She will not be to the voice of righteousness. Not even from her own people. There are some of them.
Do you think that that man was insincere about what he was saying? He can't believe how far his country have fallen. But that's what happens when all your actions, at the root of them is hatred. It's just like when they got health care, and more American people got on health care than ever before in history. And it happened under the first black president. I mean, instead of them, I mean, he didn't have that idea by himself. He wasn't the first president that tried to get national health care. He just took the baton and ran with it and tried to get it too, and happened to get it. And he had a lot of white people helping him. Why didn't that satisfy the poor sycophants that is so hateful of black people that if it's good, even if it's good for their country, they don't want it if it comes from a black man? What a fool you are. That is a cancerous disease in their heart. That they're willing, you see, to come up with something else. Whatever they came up with, it would be, everybody would recognize that it's the same idea. That's the problem. They've been trying to figure out a way to do it and say it's not the same thing. So they could say it's not, they don't want to acknowledge that a black man did anything. You notice they don't acknowledge all these inventions they got from us. You have to go study up on it and read up on it and find it and dig and dig and dig. Sitting up in the air conditioning buildings and won't give credit to the black man who invented it. Got blood banks everywhere. And you find out that a black man showed them how to store blood plasma and all that kind of thing. I mean, these people is wicked. The black man gave them the bicycle. He ran around here acting like he could get. Do you know what would happen to the sports world if black people left it? Ain't nobody going to go out there and just look at a bunch of white boys that, you know, without all of that, you know, they just can't do what black people can do. I don't say that out of racism. I say that because it's true. Now you got a man sitting up here. I mean, if you don't want to give us anything, I don't. I respect your right not to give us nothing. Then respect my right and don't try to take nothing from us. Just tell us we don't have to pay no taxes to you. Just tell all black people in America that they off the tax roll. We don't have to pay you no taxes. Then, except for highway taxes or whatnot, I think that's got at the pump, though, isn't it? And so, see how well you do by not taking taxes from us. And then we can take that money and we can start setting up programs for our own people. I'll show them how to do it. I mean, if you don't want to share none of our money with us, stop taking it. How about it, Klan, Ku Klux Klan, and all you Nazi people and all of that? Y'all willing to stop taxing us? And you can keep your welfare to yourself. Don't get scared. If we don't have to pay them the taxes, we can give ourselves the taxes and we can set up our own programs to take care of our people. And we can create jobs for you. You see, you don't know how to talk to these people. And don't you get out there trying to steal what I say and go say it. If anything, you say the Son of Man said this. Son of Man said that. I guarantee he shut his mouth at you then. Because he's scared you might call me to take your place. You notice they didn't mind talking to Malcolm. They didn't mind talking to Farrakhan. How come they didn't want to talk to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? He was the one that was putting words in Malcolm's mouth and Farrakhan's mouth. They wasn't anxious to go talk to him, was they? But they know you. They know that you just want to be seen and heard. You don't have no plan, no real plan for your people, but you want to be leading. You want to be up in front. How many of you all actually have a plan for black people? WD, you got behind him, and what did he do for you? What? Left you in the lurch. Didn't accomplish nothing. Minister Farrakhan don't have no plan. Then you notice when he had the $1 Million Man March, he told them just, y'all go back and join with anything. Join with something. Do that sound like he had a plan? He even made an agreement with the preacher that he would not try to proselytize. Wouldn't try to convert nobody to Islam. Do that sound like Allah is with him? No, I'm not going to let you get away with lying on me. No. No, you're not going to get away with telling lie on me. Y'all likes to lie. And I ain't going to let you lie on me. No, sir. Just a minute here. I think I got one here.
The tenor of the critique of white America that is angry that a black man is sitting in the White House. I said, now, Uncle, let me. My uncle came with his West Indian accent and said, get up. You see, your wife done gone and I'm joining up. What wrong with?
Yes, that's the wrong one. Just a minute.
This religious community, not enough to the church and to our people. He came up and he said, you know, Farrakhan, are you going to use this to proselytize your faith?
You know what proselytize means? It means to try to get people to join your religion. It means to try to convert people to whatever religion you believe in. So the bishop asked him, was he going to try to use the forum of the Million Man March to proselytize his faith? What would you have expected him to say? Yes, the same as you are. Right? Watch this.
Urging to our people, he came up and he said, you know, Farrakhan, are you going to use this to proselytize your faith? I said, no, Bishop. I said, when I finish, I'm going to ask all these black men to join an organization that is fighting for the uplift of our people and join a church, a mosque, a synagogue that is teaching spiritual values.
Now, what Muslim would say something like that? Whoever seeks a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from him. That's right here in the book. Chapter 3, verse 85. And he got up there and did just what he said he was going to do. Told him to go back and join with something. Now, after he pleased Bishop Nim and all them people, he said after the march was over, he was depressed. Well, I guess so. Everybody saw you for what you are. You don't really believe in what you're doing. You would much rather have a bunch of people come see you, and you do whatever it takes to get them there so you can get the crowd there. The messenger said, I wouldn't care if any but one person come to hear me. I'm not going to tell a lie. I'm not going to dress up the truth just so I can get a crowd. That ain't what we about. You know I ain't about that. I generally offend so many people. I'm surprised if somebody show up. But you know, I mean, I'm not here to get you with smooth words. I'm here to get those who seek the truth. So don't think that you can come in here and snow me just because you a groupie of one of these soapbox preachers out here. I have very little admiration or respect for a groupie. I wasn't following the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because of his flesh. I was following him because he brought the truth that I recognized. And I couldn't find, as he said, I'll give you $10,000 in my life if you can prove one word I'm teaching is not the truth. I couldn't find nothing in his teaching that wasn't the truth. It was things in there I didn't understand. But just because you don't understand something don't mean it ain't the truth. I found that out in elementary school. I didn't understand at one time that multiplication is a shortcut to addition. I didn't understand that. But I eventually grew into understanding it. And that division is a shortcut to subtraction. Huh? So, just because you don't understand something don't mean it ain't true. Just because you don't understand why a person does a thing, that don't mean it's not right to do it. That's why you always manifest how foolish you are coming in here asking me why I got the American flag up there. And then when I answer you, you're sitting there with egg on your face. Sitting in America asking me why I'm respecting American flag. It's like that. That's like asking me if I walk in your house and you got rules in your house, or you got you ask me take your shoes off when you come in. You got to take your shoes off. And I take my shoes off. Why are you taking your shoes off, man? You don't tell nobody to take the shoes off when they come in your house. So, well, this ain't my house. It's this man's house. And if I want to come in there, I take my shoes off. Unless I'm showing disrespect to this man in his house. I don't know they don't hardly say this no more. A man's home is his castle. You know what that means? There ain't no such thing as a castle with two kings in it. One king per castle. So when you go into a man's home, that man is the boss in his house. And if he respects you enough to let you come into his house, respect him enough to abide by the rules in his house, as long as he ain't trying to get you to do something that's against right. What problem you got with taking off your shoes? You eventually take off your shoes every day. You go to bed with your shoes on? You ain't never walked around in your house barefooted? Well, then what's the problem with taking off your shoes? And I just use that as an example. I mean, if he comes to me, if he come to a country that I'm on, that I'm the owner of, that we the owner of, wouldn't we expect him to respect our flag? Well, what makes you feel that we shouldn't respect his? See, that's what happens when you are guided by racism. You thought what the messenger was teaching us was racism. The messenger wasn't teaching racism. The messenger was teaching us Islam. The messenger said, respect everybody. And everybody will respect you. He said, now remember, their flag is still flying over America. He said, honor and respect the man. Because he still has his flag. People are something, man. Let's see here. Let me help you out.
will have all over the world. And they recognize and respect her. You must recognize and respect it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead. You don't disrespect people that is trying to respect you. I remember the last time that I was out for that therapy. Me and my father get on the first. Now remember that flag is still flying over America. Yes, sir. Honor and respect the man. Yes, sir. Because he still has his flag. Very much that can be interchange between him and us. In that way of respect. Yes, sir.
So I'm doing what the messenger said do. What you upset about? I thought you was his follower. Liar, liar, liar. He even goes on to say,
we don't have to get up. Simple stuff. That's a long time. And you go all around the earth. You know what I'm saying? Flash of your own home. I don't say this to say that a long time himself among you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you flag representing your freedom. Yes, sir. And that you are justified to be free. Yes, sir. Now, if he has given you your flag, and that you are justified in having that flag to lift up to the people of earth, let us show the people of earth we can do something for self. Yes, sir. Such a greatest flag ever been raised. Yes, sir. By a man. Yes, sir.
do you know of any flag greater than the sun, moon, and star? I'm talking to the world. He wasn't lying. We got the greatest flag that ever been raised by the hand of man. And if you got the greatest flag, then let's see if you got the greatest idea of civilization to go with that flag. Do you have the great understanding of how to treat your fellow man to go with the greatest flag? If you have not learned how to treat your fellow man, then that flag is nothing but a mockery to you. The flag ain't nothing but a piece of cloth with a design on it. Unless you make it mean more than that. You say it means freedom, justice, and equality, and righteousness. Well, is that what do you represent to the people when you out there in the public? When you live your daily life, do you carry those principles into practice? And if you don't, your flag is just a mockery.
We must remember that the fault is not only the slave master anymore. Since he said you can go free, yes, sir. And we see today he's not hindering us. Right. This we hindering ourselves. Give justice to whom we do. With glory and making fun and shorten the slave master with keeping us a slave. You can't hold no slave now. Yes, sir. You're holding yourself a slave.
If you say that's not true, you don't hear no white man able to come in here and argue with me about nothing I say. If you really wanted to be free, you know all you had to do was get with me. And I could have guided you to freedom. But you done, see, this is something that the white man finding out. I mean, what do you think he's telling you? We don't kill nothing but black people. He's proving that you really don't want to be free. You just want to be recognized and allowed to act like white people in white people's country. That's what you want. Even when he elect a president that say, nigga, get away from my door. You'd rather live in disgrace than to unite with your own brother and be free. You'd rather go over there like a dog begging than to go like a man and say, now look, I'm ready to go on and get away from you. And I know you don't want to be bothered with me. So you said you freed us, but you didn't. Freeing us don't mean just saying you're free. We need something to go with. Or tell us you didn't mean it when you said you was freeing us. See, he took the credit for saying he freed us, right? Yes. Well, he done already acknowledged that it's his responsibility to set us free, right? Well, you can't set us free if you don't give us nothing to go with. And I'm not talking about give us what you think we ought to have. If you freeing us, you give us what we think we ought to have. Which means that our head need to talk to your head. He knows you don't know what you need, but he knows that I know what you need. That's why he don't talk to me. He don't come in here and clown with me no more. And if you look at this is what I want you to do. I'm not going to touch that money, whatever you put into the, what is that, GoFundMe, to help build the new nation of Islam, to help black people in America do that. You put it in there. And every one of you that put something in that account, if you don't start immediately seeing Allah bless you for doing that, then you let me know and I will give you your money back. I ain't gonna touch it. I'm gonna just leave it in there. That's where you do that. That goes for individuals as well as nations. You want your nation to be blessed? Put something in the GoFundMe account to help me to help my people. Allah said he's going to bless those that bless me, and he would curse those that curse me. Now you already see what's happening to the nation who enslaved us. Hurricane season ain't over yet. And then what this winter gonna be like this time? So, and I'm trying to show you who I am. Help me to help my people. That goes for the American government too. If they put something in there, they'll be blessed. No, it's just up to you. You go on our site, the link for it is on there. You click on the link and donate to help me to help my people. Now that's all over the world. All of you that's having problems and whatnot, if you want Allah's blessing, bless me. This Holy Quran says send blessings on Allah's messenger. The Holy Bible said tithes and offerings is for the Lord. Bring all the tithes and offerings into the storehouse, into the GoFundMe account. I'm not talking about y'all who already been given. You know what to do with the money that you've been given. Keep giving it like you've been giving it. You don't need to go on no GoFundMe. But the rest of them who might not have knew how they could help, now you have no excuse. Now you know how you can help. Right? And if you don't, what?
Naomi Hassan asked, in our prayers we have the words devil, devils, and hell. Would my prayers be accepted if I use devices of illusion and darkness instead?
Well, it don't make no. Just leave the prayer like I gave it to y'all. Don't start tinkering around with the prayers. Just say it like I taught it to you. That's what happened to this world. They start, not that it's a big thing, but, just it's much simpler to just say devils. Why add more to it? That's why we made the word devil. I was just trying to show you that it's an acronym for something else. But main thing is, don't stay on topic. Just keep the prayers like I gave them to you. So now, the messenger, he tells you a lot of things. He said, we hoist our flag right here on this soil. He didn't say take it down. No.
Hey, you, mind the Lord. Brothers and sisters, you just to wait for home. And don't try and draw people out of just get back. If the white man is here, breathe you in to go to work. What's that? And you go all around the earth. You don't object to where you want. Then he's not to blame today. You're the one to be blamed. This is the greatest joy and the smooth way that we have of jumping the burden on somebody else. Is right. And we are oppositional brothers. It's our faith among the righteous doing right. I love you. Yes, sir. you to do something for self. And stop putting your fault on the slave master. You say, well, let me do something together. Go somewhere where you can do something for yourself without being paid. That's right. Because for him, train it up to make it wrong for us. And then the buffalo train me. That didn't stop you from opening up a great country that you and I are sitting here in today, glorifying our freedom. Satan was not doing anything with the country, but function. What I said to you, we cannot put all the fault on the white. No, you don't deserve President Trump at all. Because you are weak. And to make it clear that you are our king. And you, and he a flag represented me. Just a very far. We're hoist that flag right there on this song. He said it now. Yes, sir. No, it did not hinder you from hoisting your own flag right up beside you. Yes, sir.
See? The messenger saw that. Where you see out there? Have any white person came by here and said, take that flag down? They ain't said a word. He did not hinder you from hoisting your flag right up beside his. He didn't say take it down. So seeing that nobody's hindering us,
so we must get up and do something for self. Seeing that nobody's hindering us from doing self, we must go and do for self. And stop charging the old slave master with being our hindering God. He is not. It's ourselves.
white people have invited us to come to their marketplace and sell our goods, and they come and buy us out, and we can't get maybe sitting right there in a black town. They pass by our bakery day and night and won't come in there and buy one donut. I mean, it's sad. It's not white people hindering us. It's us. Mad at me because I don't want to sit around begging white people. That's what you're really mad about. You know, the house Negro ain't never wanted to get away from the master. Because he was willing to sell his manhood and she was willing to sell her womanhood just to get some of the crumbs and they be allowed to hang out in the house and eat the master's food and all that kind of stuff. They don't want to go for self. And so they hate any man that any black man that say, hey man, it's time for us to go for self. No, we got it good right now. We don't need to do that. But what about the masses of our people? They ain't got it good. Well, it's their fault. Hold on. Okay. So those who done got a comfortable position in some corporate white man's company, and living in some neighborhood where they can live comfortable with white people or whatnot, they don't want freedom. Well, if you want to stay with him, stay with him. Why you got to try to block me from getting free? So, those of you who want your freedom, you come with me. And you got my number. Let me give you my number. 601-786-9742. That's my landline. My cell phone is 601-786-1332. And you should be able to reach me on one of them numbers. And like I said, if you give to that GoFundMe account, what's the name of it, brother? Come on, talk in the mic, brother.
It's the GoFundMe account.
What's on it? I'm disappointed that those of you who supposed to be my aiders in doing stuff, and I ask you a question and you don't know the answer to it when it's your job to know. Say what?
It says tithes and offerings, the Son of Man.
Tithes and offerings, the Son of Man. Okay. Is there an S on offering? That's TITHES and offerings, OFFERINGS. And then it has the Son of Man. And you go there, whatever country you in, you go to GoFundMe and put what you want to put in there to help me. If you don't get blessed for it, then it's going to be sitting there. I'll just get it out of there and give it back to you. No problem. I ain't panhandling. No, sir. I'm giving you away to get blessed by Allah. Now, you can take it or not. I remember when Elijah met the widow and she and her son had just enough to make one last meal. Then she was going, him and her eat it and then die. And Elijah told her, he said, fix me something to eat. And so she said, well, just for us two, this is the last thing anyway. And when she fixed God's man something, her and her son ate good from that time on. All praises due to Allah. So you help me, and I will help you. So it takes millions and millions and millions of dollars to build a nation. You can't build no nation with pennies. You need millions of dollars because you need schools. You need everything. You need material for housing. You need heavy equipment. You need to be able to set up your own research labs and everything. You need hospitals. You need. We're going to need to get with the medical schools. Some of these hospitals and whatnot. People who have aptitude. If we can't get America to cooperate, we will have to send some of our people to other nations to learn how to care for our sick and wounded people. I say wounded because you see what happened in Flint, Michigan. They purposely put lead in our people, wounding us. So they did it on purpose. Some of their own scientists telling on. So I need help. So you who are in positions where you have the ear of your heads of state, invite them to view this lecture. And then I can appeal to them like I'm appealing to you right now. They will hear my appeal, and if they want to help us, they can. And so we'll and keep your records of what you give, so that can't nobody lie to us and say that didn't nobody give, when if you gave, you can let me know. Then I'll know what's going on. Somebody's stealing our money. I'm not stupid. So, but I don't think that anybody is that crazy to get in between what Allah put in somebody's heart to give me. Now, a lot of them found out about that around here when I first moved here. And they ain't on this side of the ground no more. So, you don't want to help me, just leave me alone. So, I hope that this government will help me. I hope that many of my brothers and sisters, we have lots of black millionaires here in America. I'm told we have a few billionaires, like Ms. Winfrey. And they say Jay-Z got quite a bit too, huh? But anyway, I hope that you will understand this. You don't have to be afraid to help me. Nobody gonna punish you for helping me. That'd be suicide on their part. You know, I say to all of the wealthy black people in America, you don't have to be afraid to acknowledge me. I'm your Lord, and I'm white people's Lord too. And if they get to clowning with you for helping me, just let me know about it. You know, matter of fact, that's already taken care of. As Allah said, He will bless those that bless me and curse those that curse me. Now, if they ain't got enough problems, they already out of how many billions of dollars in Texas? 100 and some billion, and it ain't really added up all up yet. Now Florida, just think, you could have saved yourself all of that by going on and fixing them pipes in Flint. They didn't need but $50 million. 1/20th of a billion. And now you got billions of dollars, not to mention what's got to happen in Puerto Rico. And others, do you not see something going on here? All right. Well, I'm going to let you go. And I want to thank the coach. It did my heart good to hear sincere Coach Popovich acknowledging that something is wrong here and that we need to have an intelligent adult conversation about race, not just some talking heads. No, we need to fix the problem. The only way to fix the problem is to first acknowledge it openly that there is a problem. And quit trying to blame the victim for what the victimized are doing. Now, anybody got something they want to say that is not in agreement with me? Come in and let me hear what you have to say. You know, when I played Mr. What was the man's name that I played last night? Monday. He was talking about white privilege. Reg Kelly. Reg what? Reg Kelly. I invited him to come in and discuss what he was saying on that video, and he declined. Then he ought to take that video down. See, that is a cowardly act. If he really believed what he was saying, he wouldn't mind discussing it. I'll show you an example. You remember when Mr. What's the man's name that they was trying to take his cattle? Mr. Bundy. Cliven Bundy. I respect him. When we invited him to come in to here and discuss his position, he didn't even hesitate. He said, sure. And when he came in here, you know, they was trying to paint him as a stupid, you know, a redneck. He didn't sound like no redneck to me. He sounded like people had been running game on him and he was tired of it. Well, I just reminded him that you mad at the wrong people. Now that governor that was so quiet there, in what state was that? Arizona? Nevada? The governor, when Mr. Bundy thought it was the federal government that was doing that to him, the governor of Nevada didn't say nothing. When the governor of Nevada is the one that turned that land over to the federal government, the federal government didn't take that land. The representatives of that state turned it over to the federal government. Then why didn't he take the blame for what he did? But have Mr. Bundy mad at Barack Obama. Yeah, he's trifling, man. He's some trifling people. You know, there are citizens in this country that they love this country, and for good reason. This country has been good to them, and they pay their taxes. They fight. They'll fight for this country. They join the military. They teach their children to be patriots. And then you get these insincere hypocrites that will misuse them because they play on their love of their country and that festering racism that's in the back of their minds, that from being lied to. So I'm telling you, white people that love your country and love your children, get your children in these classes and tell them they need to listen to me. Because all I'm doing is telling them the truth. And every one of you can have a rebirth. As I told so many before, there's actually no such thing as a white man. And that's true. Mr. Popovich knows that. Everybody on the planet came out of the black man. So what does that make basically everybody on the planet? What if you want the truth about it? Everybody on the planet is the black man. But everybody ain't the father. Huh? You can have ever so many children in the house, and they all love the family, but it ain't but one daddy, one father. But the devil, his thing is divide and conquer. So X-rays and gamma rays and ultraviolet, all those lights, they in the sunlight. You walk out there in them all the time. They only get harmful to you when you start dividing them up. When you just single out X-ray and go through, you got to be careful with it then. It's dangerous, ain't it? All right. So, it's time for us to be one. God shall be all, and in all. Then once we are like that, then I will share some other things with you. Okay? Wonderful things. All right. So may Allah bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds. May Allah's